Okay, this is Rene Descartes' Discourse on Methods and Meditations on First Philosophy. We're going to talk about part 2 today, and it's 4 rules for making and striving for the success and the truth of knowledge and the true knowledge of understanding, separating the fake from the real and the truthful from the harmful and superfluous. This is what we're going to talk about. So, in the first part, before we talk about the 4 laws, we're going to lead up to why he creates these laws in his pursuit of the purpose, because the purpose is very important. So that is why I thought it is necessary to search for some other method embracing the advantages of these three, yet from their defects. And since the multiplicity of the laws often provides excuse for vices, so that a state is much better ruled when it has but very few laws when these are very strictly observed. Likewise, in place of the large number of precepts of logic is composed, I believed that the following 4 rules would be sufficient for me, provided I made a firm, constant resolution, not even once to fail to observe them. So yes, based off that, we can see what these purposes for. These purposes for self-reliant people being able to learn individually and put that inside to the world and put that inside your life. So the first law was never to accept anything as true that I do not plainly know to be such. That is to say, carefully to avoid hasty judgment and prejudice, and to include nothing more in my judgments, and what presented itself to my mind so clearly and so distinctly that I had no oxidation and call in doubt. So that basically says that never to accept anything true until one experiences it. Make sure one knows it. Stay away from the excessively preconceived opinions of others, like rhetoric. Make sure when you're listening to someone, understand what they're saying, but don't agree to it fully, because sometimes they may be trying to persuade you. When you make your decisions, be free from doubt. So the second law, to divide each of these difficulties, I would examine it into as many parts as possible, and as it was required in order to better resolve them. So you want to take these issues that you would ever maybe and break them up into individual steps. You don't want to clump it up and say, I'm just going to solve that problem, because that will, number one, probably take longer and it wouldn't be as efficient. The third, to conduct my thoughts in an orderly fashion by conversing with those objects that are simplest and easy to know, in order to ascend little by little, as by degrees, to the knowledge of the most composite things, and supposing order, and even those among the things that do not naturally precede one another. So have a goal, have a system of hierarchy. Use your resources to break up this material. Put things that you know that are given, like the given truth, like we breathe in oxygen, like that's given, and save the more harder stuff, like how do you solve, what is the exact equation, or physics, what type of physics you use to create your invention, or whatever it may be. That is the hardest step, and make sure you want to have the materials necessary and before you attack that. The fourth rule is everywhere to make enumerations so complete and reviews so general that I was assured of having omitted nothing. So yes, whenever you complete your rule or complete your knowledge, make sure that your actions, you feel satisfied, you understand the purpose of them, and make sure you know make sure you know you don't leave anything, you don't omit, quote, omit nothing. You do not leave anything, any material behind. You make sure you captured it fully, and make sure you're ready to move on, because if you're not ready to move on, that probably means you haven't truly completed the problem or what knowledge you're seeking. So one thing that I think this would not help help you be able to do one thing in life, these 4 laws would not be able to help you to do, is making a successful invention, because In order for something to be successful in the eyes of the public, you need outside sources, you need people, you need the world. And these 4 laws, like I said earlier, are very self-reliant. They do not permit opinions from others. They do not allow one, in using these 4 laws, they do not allow one to listen to others. It's truly just understanding and learning yourself. That's the biggest thing. But yeah, making a successful invention requires you to know the purpose of what you're doing, which comes from the outside world, because you can create something successful for yourself, but for it to be successful in the long run and to be passed down from generation to generation, it must be able to take the opinions of others and incorporate it into your own knowledge. And that's big. Being able to take the opinions of others and incorporate it into your own self-knowledge is what it takes to make a successful invention.